something unseen will happen on the 5th, 6th, and 7th of November. You may not notice it at first because it will not arrive with noise or movement. It will not announce itself in the world outside. It begins quietly within you. The unseen never enters from the outside. It awakens from the inside. This is the way real transformation works. Before anything visible shifts in your life, something invisible starts to move within your awareness. It begins as a subtle tension, a silent calling, a strange sense that something is changing even when nothing seems different. The unseen does not shout, it whispers, and those who have learned to listen will feel it on these days, the 5th, 6th, and 7th. The world will seem ordinary, but your perception will not be. Something deep inside will start to rearrange itself. Old habits will lose their grip. Thoughts that once seemed powerful will lose their control. You may feel it as restlessness or calm, confusion or clarity, but underneath every feeling, something unseen will be taking shape, a new layer of understanding, a new direction for your life. Not through miracles, but through awareness that deepens into understanding. These 3 days are not a prophecy of events, but a mirror of your own inner process. Every time you bring awareness to what moves unseen in you, your fears, your doubts, your longings, you give it the chance to transform. Awareness is the light that reveals the hidden. It does not fight darkness, it simply makes it unnecessary. When you stay conscious, you begin to see that nothing external can define your peace. No noise from the world can disturb the silence that lives inside you. This silence is not empty, it is alive. It carries the energy of creation, the same energy that moves stars and tides. To connect with it is to align yourself with life itself. And that is what the unseen really is. Life waiting for your attention. When you slow down and listen, it speaks, it tells you where to go, what to release, what to become. But it does not use words. It communicates through feeling, intuition, and presence. So when the 5th comes, be still. When the 6th unfolds, stay aware. When the 7th arrives, act from clarity. These 3 days can become the most powerful days of your inner journey if you understand that the unseen is not something that happens to you. It is something that happens through you. The real event is not in the sky, not in the world, but in your consciousness. The unseen will always move before the visible. The question is not whether it will happen, but whether you will be awake enough to feel it. Growth begins the moment you stop chasing what you can see and start trusting what you can sense. When you align yourself with that unseen movement, life begins to flow differently, lighter, freer, more natural, nothing forced, nothing missing. On these days, something unseen will happen, not to the world, but within you. It will not be loud, it will not be obvious. But if you stay present, if you listen deeply, you will feel it. The quiet turning of energy, the soft rising of awareness, the birth of something new. This is how transformation begins, quietly, powerfully, unseen. To be ready for what is coming on the 5th, 6th, and 7th of November is not about preparing your surroundings. Awareness is not about holding on, it's about letting go. When you let go, you stop forcing life and begin to flow with it. On the 6th of November, you will feel the pull. One part of you trying to control, another trying to surrender. That is the test. The 6th will separate noise from silence, confusion from clarity, and your readiness will be measured by how deeply you can remain aware in the middle of change. Awareness means seeing what is without distortion. When awareness is present, fear loses its grip because fear feeds on blindness, not truth. When you observe something fully, a thought, an emotion, an event, you remove its power to control you. Awareness transforms reaction into understanding. It changes chaos into clarity. On these 3 days, the unseen will move, but only those who are awake will feel its rhythm. The rest will pass through it without knowing what they missed. To be ready means to stay conscious, even when nothing seems to happen. Awareness sharpens your senses beyond the surface. It allows you to feel the movement beneath stillness. On the 5th, the world will look the same, but awareness will tell you something is shifting. On the 6th, that shift will deepen. Your mind may try to resist it, but your awareness will recognize it as growth. On the 7th, you will begin to see clearly what awareness has been preparing you for, not an external event, but an inner evolution. Awareness is the silent teacher of life. It teaches you without words. It shows you that everything you experience passes through the filter of your perception. If your awareness is clouded, even beauty feels heavy. But if your awareness is clear, even pain becomes a lesson. These days, the 5th, 6th, and 7th are about cleansing that awareness. They are a mirror showing you how conscious you truly are. Every distraction, every reaction, every burst of emotion will point to one truth. How awake are you in this moment? The unseen is already approaching, but awareness is what allows you to meet it with peace instead of fear. On the 5th, practice being present with every breath. On the 6th, when emotions rise, stay still within yourself. On the 7th, move forward with calm clarity. These are not random instructions. They are the rhythm of awareness in motion, presence, stillness, and clarity. Together, they form the path of readiness. When awareness deepens, you no longer ask what will happen. You ask how you can stay awake through it, because life is not what happens to you, it is how you perceive what happens. The same situation that breaks one person can awaken another. The difference is awareness. The more you cultivate it, the less you are pulled by extremes. You stop living in reaction and start living in understanding. Awareness has no shape, no sound, yet it is the foundation of everything you are. It watches without judging, listens without choosing, moves without effort. It is the still space between thoughts, the silence before the storm, the clarity after confusion. When you connect with this space, the unseen becomes visible and life begins to flow through you naturally. On the 5th, 6th, and 7th, you are invited to live from that space, not to escape the world, but to meet it consciously. That is the beginning of awakening. Silence begins to replace noise. But for most people, silence feels uncomfortable because they have built their life around movement, distraction, and sound. They fear stillness because stillness reveals what they have been avoiding. Yet it is within that stillness that the unseen begins to rise. When you enter silence consciously, you begin to feel energy that words cannot explain. You begin to sense the quiet intelligence that moves everything, the pulse behind every breath, the awareness behind every thought. On the 5th, stay with that silence. Let it expand. It is in that expansion that clarity begins to take form. The 6th of November will deepen the silence. It may test you. The mind may resist. It may try to fill the quiet with thoughts, plans, or fears. But silence is stronger than thought. It is not something to achieve, it is something to return to. On this day, notice how the mind reacts to stillness. Notice how uncomfortable it feels when nothing happens. This is where growth hides, in the space where you stop running from yourself. The 6th is the day to surrender to silence, not fight it. In this silence, everything hidden becomes visible. The unseen within you starts to speak. Not in language, but in feeling, in awareness. You begin to see the patterns you've carried, the weight you've held, the fears you've avoided. Silence brings them to light, because silence has no disguise. It reflects exactly what is. That is why silence feels heavy to some, because it shows the truth. But if you stay with it, that truth transforms into peace. Then comes the 7th of November, the day of awakening through silence. What was once uncomfortable now feels natural. What was once heavy becomes light. You begin to realize that silence is not emptiness. It is fullness beyond words. It is life in its purest form, unshaken, unbothered, complete. You see how the unseen has been guiding you all along, moving through the stillness of these days, preparing you for a deeper level of awareness. On this day, your perception changes. You no longer need sound to feel alive, nor movement to feel progress. You realize that the most powerful movements happen without motion. The unseen does not shout. It reveals itself gently in quiet moments where awareness is awake. The 7th becomes the day of recognition. The moment you understand that silence was never nothingness, it was everything you were too busy to hear. The world will always chase noise. People will fill their lives with endless activity, endless talk, endless doing. But growth happens in the spaces between, in the pauses, in the quiet, in the still moments where you stop trying to control everything. The 5th, 6th, and 7th of November are an invitation to return to that stillness. These days are not asking you to isolate from the world. They are asking you to listen beneath it. When you listen deeply, you discover that silence carries messages no sound can deliver. It teaches patience. It teaches trust. It teaches presence. In silence, time slows down. The past and the future lose power. Only this moment remains alive and full. That is where awareness grows, not in noise, but in stillness. These 3 days hold the kind of silence that transforms, the kind that purifies without effort, that heals without force, that awakens without demand. The unseen speaks through silence because silence has no interference. When you are silent, life can reach you. It can show you what is real and what is illusion. On the 5th, you will feel it as a quiet pull inward. On the 6th, you will feel it as a confrontation with your own noise. On the 7th, you will feel it as peace. Not the peace that depends on calm surroundings, but the peace that comes from within, unshakable and clear. Silence is a teacher. It does not explain. It reveals how much strength you waste on noise. It reveals how much peace you lose by chasing answers outside yourself. These 3 days are a mirror, showing you that the answers you seek are already inside, waiting for you to listen. Silence does not give you something new. It helps you remember what you have always known. The unseen is alive within that silence. You can feel it in your breath, in your awareness, in your stillness. Resistance blinds you because it keeps you looking outward. It keeps you stuck in argument, in defense, in protection. But life does not attack you. It tries to awaken you. Every challenge is a mirror showing where you still hold on too tightly. These 3 days will mirror your resistance clearly. If you feel tension, it means something inside is afraid to release. If you feel peace, it means you are learning to trust. Letting go is not loss. It is space. When you release what no longer serves you, new energy enters, new insight, new clarity, new strength. But the mind fears the empty space that comes after letting go, so it clings to the familiar even when the familiar hurts. These 3 days invite you to break that pattern. The unseen is waiting to enter, but it cannot pass through walls of fear and control. You must open the gate yourself. On the 5th, observe your reactions. On the 6th, face your resistance. On the 7th, release everything that no longer aligns with who you are becoming. Do it silently, without drama, without struggle. Growth does not require noise. It requires honesty. Be honest enough to see what you are still holding and brave enough to let it go. The unseen is not against you. It only becomes painful when you fight it. Resistance turns lessons into suffering. Acceptance turns suffering into wisdom. These days are about choosing awareness over control. When you resist, life pushes harder. When you allow, life flows through you effortlessly. The unseen teaches through contrast. The moment you stop forcing, things begin to align naturally. On the 6th, you may feel the weight of your own walls. Old thoughts may return, fears may whisper, doubts may rise. But this is not regression, it is exposure. The unseen is showing you what still limits you. See it, thank it, and release it. Every fear you face loses its power. Every attachment you release opens your vision. By the time the 7th arrives, the weight will lift. You will see how much energy you wasted in resistance and how much peace comes from letting go. Growth does not come by adding more. When control fades, peace returns. When you let go, you finally become open enough to receive. The 5th, 6th, and 7th of November will not bring a cosmic event. The real shift will not appear in the sky, nor in the movement of stars. It will happen inside you. These days are not about what the world will show, but about what your awareness will reveal. The unseen is not outside, it lives within your consciousness. The true transformation of these days is not global, it is personal. It is the awakening of your inner space. A quiet but powerful realization that life moves through you, not around you. On the 5th of November, something begins to stir within You may not understand it, but you will feel it. It could be a strange clarity, a sudden awareness, or a deep silence that feels alive. This is not coincidence. It is the beginning of the inner shift. The unseen starts to awaken inside you. Many will miss it because they are waiting for something external to happen, a sign, a miracle, a message, but nothing will appear outside. The real event is unfolding in silence, inside your awareness. This is how awakening works. The external world only mirrors the internal one. If you expect change outside before it happens inside, you will keep waiting forever. On the 5th, the unseen energy starts to rise. You will feel the first movements of clarity within your thoughts, a faint sense that something deeper is calling you. Don't ignore it. This is the start of awareness expanding. Stay conscious. Then comes the 6th of November, the day of confrontation. Awareness deepens and the unseen becomes stronger. It begins to show you what has been hidden beneath your daily noise, your fears, your distractions, your repetitive emotions. This is where the real work begins. The 6th asks you to face yourself. You might feel inner tension, like two forces pulling in opposite directions. One part wants to evolve, the other part wants to stay where it is. That pull is the sign that transformation is happening. The unseen is not here to destroy the old self, but to awaken the real one that has been sleeping beneath layers of illusion. This is why these 3 days are not ordinary. They are a process. Awakening, purification, realization. The 6th brings the purification. It may be uncomfortable. It may challenge what you thought was true. But if you remain aware, you will see that this discomfort is not suffering. It is cleansing. The unseen is pushing out everything that no longer serves your higher state of being. The mind may resist, but awareness simply watches. The more you watch without reacting, the faster the transformation moves. Then comes the 7th of November, the day of realization. What began quietly on the 5th and unfolded intensely on the 6th now becomes clear. You begin to see what was really happening. Not an external shift, but an internal alignment. Awareness settles. You start to see your life, your choices, your emotions with new eyes. The unseen becomes visible not as an event, but as understanding. You realize that every outer experience was only reflecting your inner state. You realize that control was never the goal. Clarity was. The 7th is the day you return to yourself, calm, aware, awake. The unseen is not some mysterious force outside your reach. It is your own consciousness, the dimension of life you forget when you live only through your senses. When you return to awareness, you begin to see how life truly works. Nothing happens by accident. Every person, every event, every emotion is a reflection of your own inner vibration. The unseen is simply showing you what you have not yet seen. These 3 days are a mirror, not of the world, but of your inner growth. The 5th shows you the spark, the first movement of awareness. The 6th tests your strength to stay conscious while the old begins to dissolve. The 7th reveals the peace that follows understanding. This is not prophecy, this is process. Every real transformation follows this rhythm. The unseen works silently. It does not need noise or proof. It waits for your awareness to awaken. The more you chase outer signs, the more distant it becomes. But when you turn inward and observe, the unseen begins to move naturally. Awareness opens doors that effort never could. These days, the 5th, 6th, and 7th, are designed to draw your attention back to the one place that truly matters. Within, growth has always been personal. It cannot be borrowed, copied, or forced. It happens in silence, in observation, in awareness. On these days, the invitation is to stop waiting for the world to change and instead awaken to your own transformation. The unseen will not appear before your eyes, it will appear in your perception. You will start to see differently, feel differently, act differently. Not because the world changed, but because you did. On the 5th, be still enough to sense the first stir of awakening. On the 6th, stay aware through the turbulence of transformation. On the 7th, rest in the calm of realization. These 3 days carry the essence of awakening, the unseen becoming known through awareness. This is the real power of life, to witness yourself change from within, silently, naturally, without needing validation from the outside. When awareness expands, the world does not change. Your relationship with it does. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer fight what happens, you flow with it. The unseen within you guides you gently toward harmony. This is the hidden truth behind the 5th, 6th, and 7th of November. The event is not in the sky. It is in your consciousness. The unseen is you, the part of you that watches, the part that knows, the part that is untouched by fear or confusion. These days are not warning signs, they are reminders. They remind you to awaken to that deeper part, to live from awareness rather than reaction. When you do, life becomes lighter, decisions become clearer, energy becomes pure. On these days, remember this: nothing external can complete you, and nothing external can disturb you when you are rooted in awareness. The unseen does not come to show you something new. It comes to remind you of who you have always been, pure, aware, and free. The 5th awakens that truth, the 6th tests it, and the 7th seals it. The unseen will move through you quietly, and when it does, you will realize that nothing extraordinary happened, and yet everything changed. Every change in life starts with this invisible movement. Before a seed breaks through the ground, it grows silently under the soil. Before light appears at dawn, the darkness begins to thin. The unseen always precedes the seen. So these 3 days are not about waiting for an external event. They are an invitation to observe the inner one, to stay still enough to notice how life moves in you, not just around you. Most people live only on the surface. They wait for visible signs, for something dramatic to happen that they can see or touch. But the real shifts, the powerful ones, are unseen. They take place in silence, in thought, in energy, in awareness. When you become sensitive to these movements, you stop chasing signs and start becoming one. The unseen works through you, not beside you. And when it does, everything external begins to align naturally, without force. On the 5th of November, the unseen begins to stir. You may not understand what is happening, but you will feel it. A thought, a realization, a quiet discomfort. These are signs that the unseen is awake. Don't rush to define it. Don't label it as good or bad. Just notice it. Awareness itself is the bridge between the unseen and the visible. Then comes the 6th of November. The movement grows stronger. You may feel pulled between two states, who you were and who you are becoming. This is not confusion, it is transformation. The unseen is reorganizing your inner space. The old patterns that once controlled your reactions start to loosen. The noise inside you begins to fade, and in that silence, truth begins to rise. You realize that you are not the thoughts that pass through your mind, not the emotions that visit and leave, but the awareness that watches them. This realization is the beginning of mastery, not over others but over yourself. And then the 7th of November arrives. The unseen that moved within you now starts to take form. It becomes visible through your actions, your clarity, your calm presence. You feel lighter, more awake. You no longer wait for life to change. You are the change. This is how the unseen becomes seen. It is not about what you do with your body or what you plan with your mind. Readiness begins from a much deeper place. It begins in awareness. These 3 days are not testing your strength. They are testing your awareness. They are asking, are you awake enough to see what is unseen? Because the unseen does not enter through the eyes, it enters through awareness. When you are aware, you don't wait for something to happen. You become part of what is happening. Awareness allows you to see movement before it becomes visible. You begin to sense the shift before it arrives. That is real readiness. On the 5th of November, something in you will begin to stir. It might come as restlessness, a sudden silence, or unexplained change in energy. Do not rush to interpret it. Awareness does not analyze, it observes. To prepare for these days is to train yourself to watch without reaction. Most people confuse readiness with control. They plan, they predict, they build walls of certainty. But the unseen cannot be controlled. It can only be recognized. Every growth begins with awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. So these days are not about doing more. They are about seeing more, seeing your patterns, your reactions, your distractions. Awareness does not demand that you be perfect. It only asks that you be present. When you are present, transformation happens by itself. The old dissolves, the new begins to rise, and the unseen reveals itself through your stillness. The unseen will not knock on your door, it will rise from within you. Awareness is the key that opens that inner door. And when you open it, life begins to unfold in its natural rhythm. You realize that nothing needs to be forced because everything already knows where to go. Awareness shows you that you are not separate from this rhythm. You are part of it. You are the silence through which life moves. On the 5th of November, begin with stillness. On the 6th, hold your awareness steady in the face of movement. On the 7th, walk in clarity without fear. These 3 days are an opportunity, not for the world to change, but for you to awaken. Readiness is not waiting for something to happen. Readiness is awareness itself. And when awareness is awake, you will realize that the unseen was never outside. It has always been you waiting to be seen. The 5th, 6th, and 7th of November are not ordinary days. They are steps, stages, movements of awakening. Each day carries its own lesson, its own vibration, its own key to transformation. These days are not meant to be watched like a calendar. They are meant to be lived like a path. Something unseen will unfold through them, not as a single event, but as a process of awakening that moves through layers of your being. To see this clearly, you must be present, because each day opens a different door inside you. The 5th of November is the stirring. It is the moment when the unseen begins to whisper. You feel that something is shifting, but you cannot name it yet. You sense that something is changing, but you cannot see it clearly. This is the first step, the awakening of awareness. On this day, silence will begin to speak. You might feel more sensitive, more alert, or more restless. Do not resist it. The stirring is the signal that life is preparing you for growth. Every transformation begins with discomfort, with the breaking of patterns, with the shaking of old structures that no longer serve you. On the 5th, you must not fight the stirring. You must feel it fully. Let it move through you, like wind moves through leaves. The 6th of November is the confrontation. The unseen becomes more intense. The energy that began as a whisper now begins to reveal what has been hidden. You may feel confusion, old emotions rising, thoughts that challenge your peace. This is not punishment, it is purification. The unseen can only become visible when what blocks it is brought to light. The 6th is the mirror day, the day when you face yourself without the protection of illusion. You see the fears, the attachments, the resistance that keep you bound. Do not run from them. Face them with awareness. The confrontation is not between you and the world. It is between awareness and unconsciousness, between truth and illusion. On this day, remember to stay centered. The storm may seem strong, but its purpose is to clear the air. What you feel on the 6th is not chaos. It is energy reorganizing itself. The unseen is adjusting your inner space, preparing you for clarity. When emotions rise, breathe deeply and stay present. Do not be pulled into reaction. Watch, observe. Awareness itself dissolves confusion. The confrontation is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to reveal your strength. Then comes the 7th of November. This is the opening. The unseen that was moving through the 5th and 6th now begins to show its true form. The inner storm begins to settle. Clarity starts to appear. You realize that what was breaking was not your peace, it was your limitation. On this day, awareness expands. You begin to see life differently. You understand that nothing you experienced was random. Every emotion, every moment, every silence had meaning. The 7th is the day of understanding, the day you rise from awareness into wisdom. This sequence, the stirring, the confrontation, the opening, is not just about these dates. It is the rhythm of all transformation. It is how awakening unfolds. Before growth, there is disturbance. Before clarity, there is confusion. Before peace, there is surrender. The 5th, 6th, and 7th remind you that life moves in stages, and each stage has its sacred purpose. If you skip one, you lose the depth of the next. That is why you must live through all three consciously. The unseen is like a seed. On the 5th, it begins to move beneath the surface. On the 6th, it breaks open, splitting through its shell. On the 7th, it begins to rise toward the light. The process cannot be rushed. You cannot have the flower without the seed breaking apart, and you cannot awaken without first facing what you have hidden. The unseen becomes seen only when you allow it to move through all its stages. So when the 5th arrives, be still enough to feel the first shift. When the 6th comes, be strong enough to stay with the storm. And when the 7th dawns, be open enough to receive the light. These are not separate days. They are one continuous movement of awareness. If you stay conscious through them, something powerful will unfold, not outside but inside. You will feel the birth of a new level of understanding, a clarity that changes how you see yourself and the world. Do not treat these days as coincidence. Life arranges moments like this to bring you closer to yourself. The unseen chooses its timing precisely. It moves when you are ready, not when you expect it. The 5th, 6th, and 7th are a passage, a sacred interval between the old and the new. If you meet them with awareness, they will reveal what you have been seeking. If you meet them with distraction, they will pass quietly, and the chance for awakening will slip by unnoticed. Growth is not loud. It does not always feel beautiful. Sometimes it feels like breaking, sometimes like loss. But beneath it, something pure is being formed. The 5th will shake you. The 6th will test you. The 7th will open you. This is how the unseen teaches. Through experience, not explanation. You cannot think your way into awakening. You must live it, feel it, and allow it. When you walk through these days, remember, awareness is your anchor. It will carry you through every stage. Awareness does not fight the storm, it stands in the center of it. 5th, 6th, and 7th are not the end. They are the beginning of something new, a deeper understanding of life, a closer connection to truth, a higher state of being. The unseen is moving, and it moves through you. These days are your opportunity to rise with it, to awaken, to see, to become. The 5th, 6th, and 7th of November will appear silent on the surface. Nothing loud, nothing dramatic may happen around you, but do not be deceived by silence. Silence is never empty. Silence is alive. Within it, something unseen is moving, something powerful, something that does not need sound to exist. These 3 days are a reminder that silence is not the absence of life, it is the presence of deeper life. When the world grows quiet, your inner world begins to speak. On the 5th of November, you may notice a strange calm. It is not ordinary calmness. It carries a certain energy, something that feels both still and strong. It is energy, intelligence, life itself. When you allow it to move freely, clarity follows. On these days, the key is to be still and watch. Do not force, do not rush, do not expect. Simply allow. The unseen will reveal itself in ways you cannot predict. A sudden insight, a deep calm, a quiet strength. That is the power of silence. The 5th, 6th, and 7th of November are not about waiting for noise from the world. They are about hearing the silence within yourself. The unseen is not far. It is already present, waiting behind the noise of thought and emotion. These days are a sacred reminder that silence is not the end of sound. It is the beginning of awareness. When you touch that silence, you touch life itself, alive, unseen, and full of meaning. The 5th, 6th, and 7th of November will test one thing above all: your ability to let go. Resistance blinds you. It keeps you stuck in the same patterns, repeating the same emotions, trapped in the same stories. These days are not just ordinary dates. They are moments of choice. You will either hold on to your old ways, or you will release them and allow the unseen to move freely through your life. Growth will not come through resistance. It will come through surrender. Not weakness, but intelligent surrender. The kind that understands that what is unfolding is bigger than your control. On the 5th of November, the unseen begins to stir. You will feel it as a shift, something subtle but strong. For many, the first reaction will be resistance. The mind will question, the heart will hesitate, the body will tighten. Resistance is the habit of the old self. It wants safety, not transformation. But you must see that safety is an illusion built from fear. Real safety is awareness. On this day, do not fight what you feel. If something inside begins to move, let it move. If emotion rises, allow it. The unseen does not destroy, it reveals, and what it reveals, it can transform, but only if you stop resisting. The 6th of November will be stronger. This is the day when resistance will show its full face. The unseen will begin to confront everything you have hidden. Your fears, your attachments, your illusions of control. You will feel pulled between what you know and what is calling you forward. The mind will try to protect the past. The heart will feel the tension of change, but growth does not happen through clinging. The 6th is the day to release the grip. It is the day to breathe through the discomfort and allow life to reshape you. Every time you resist, you block energy. Every time you let go, you free it. The unseen cannot move in a closed space. It needs openness. That openness is created through trust. Trust in life, trust in awareness, trust that whatever is unfolding has meaning, even if you don't understand it yet. Resistance says, I must control. Awareness says, I allow. These days are your training in awareness. The unseen does not need your control, it needs your cooperation. The 5th will begin the movement, the 6th will break what is no longer needed, and the 7th will show you why letting go was necessary. This is the pattern of awakening. On the 7th of November, the energy that felt heavy before will turn into lightness. The confusion of the past 2 days will begin to make sense. You will see that what you resisted was never trying to harm you. It was trying to free you. It comes by releasing what blocks your truth. The 5th, 6th, and 7th of November will strip away what you no longer need. It may feel like loss, but it is cleansing. The unseen cannot enter a crowded space. Life will take away only what stands between you and your awareness. Trust that process. Let the unseen work. When you surrender, you do not lose control. You gain connection. You become aligned with the natural rhythm of life. You stop swimming against the current and start moving with it. These days are about that. Shift from resistance to flow, from fear to trust, from control to awareness. So when these days come, remember this. Do not fight the unseen. Do not question every movement. Breathe, stay present, and allow life to guide you. The 5th will awaken the shift. The 6th will test your willingness, and the 7th will reward your trust. The unseen is not outside waiting to enter. It is within you waiting to be freed. These 3 days are not about what happens to you, but about what you release from within you. When resistance ends, clarity begins.